United Tiny House Association, beloved cabin, tiny house, homestead and stay.
Mm-hmm. We are in Georgia.
We're located in Middle Georgia.
Yes.
About an hour and a half outside of Atlanta on our 16-acre homestead. Finn and I have been living in our 300 square foot tiny house. We DIY'd it for over 11 years. Some folks may know our tiny firehouse from our show on HGTV back in 2017. And it was also featured along with our Schoolie, our bus conversion, last year on A&E in their 2022 series, Living Smaller. We have 2 additional tiny houses on our property. We have 2 geodesic domes. We have 2 yurts, 2 bell tents.
Mm-hmm. It's more like a, everything tiny community kind of thing.
You name it, we got it. So in regards to what's on our property and everything. So we thank everybody for tuning in. Could somebody post a comment and just say, hey, we can hear you okay?
Oh, somebody say hello.
Brenda Mendez just said hello.
That must mean it's working.
Kelly, hello. Candy, I'm sorry, hello.
All right, so what are we going to be talking about today? Well, first of all, thank you, Van Life, that, that...
Project Van Life?
Project Van Life, thank you, that invited us to be part of this awesome event.
Yeah, this is incredible. We're so excited. So thanks to them, Sammy, his whole team and everybody. So that's great. So hello to Missouri, Laura, the Show Me State, Gary, Tampa Bay. We just had a tiny house festival, Gary, in Pinellas Park, just south of you last month.
Hi there.
Carla in Arizona. We love Arizona. New Mexico. It's when we go out west with our little school bus on road trip. Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado.
Hello from Canada.
That's our jam.
There we go.
Moosehead beer.
Somebody from Georgia. Yeah, neighbor.
Hey, Winder, Georgia. Fantastic. So our talk today is, the title is Stop Existing, Start Living. And the reason is, Finn and I have been doing this for over 11 years, living here in our little DIY cabin. We're here on our homestead. But when we started out, we were totally different, especially me, totally different lifestyle and people. I met Finn when she was living in London. I was living in South Miami. She had her place in London, in Wandsworth, not the dodgy side. Hugh Grant, Love Actually, quote there. I was living in your typical South Florida bachelor kind of home, big dog, no furniture, that type of thing. And we met, and after 2 years of flying back and forth and dating each other, Finn proposed to me and asked me to marry her because she was tired of waiting on me to ask her to marry her. She wasn't dating me. She was building a life with me and wanted to take me with that life. But she said the most profound thing to me.
I did.
You did.
Okay.
All right. When Finn proposed to me, she had some POQOs, mandates, stipulations. One was I dump all my other girlfriends. Kidding. There wasn't a bunch. There's just 5. We stopped flying back and forth across the Atlantic. We settled down either in her home country of Thailand, settle down in the UK, or settle here in the US. And we get out of the city. We get out of a big city and we move out into the country because we realized we spent time on what's known as a narrow boat or a canal boat over in the UK, traversing the back canals of the UK countryside. We realized we liked that lifestyle, being in a small space, being kind of off grid, being relaxed, making our own calendar, not punching a time clock, things of that nature. So when Finn said, let's stop doing all this crazy stuff, let's settle down, we settled on the United States. And Finn then said, we need to leave Miami. And we were always coming up to Georgia to one of my hunting properties, and Finn loved it in the woods. So do I. And she said, let's move to Georgia and build a cabin. And this was the profound statement. My home is here in Miami. And Finn said, you have a house. Now it's time to have a home. Let's do this. And at that split moment, it just dawned on me, yeah, I could live anywhere I want. There's nothing holding me to Miami. It's just, that's where I'm at. And we made that decision. It was a spontaneous decision. It was not, let's debate about it. Let's think about it. Let's plan it all out. We said, let's do it. Yay, SG Health, Heath, go Finn. We decided it. We turned our backs on big city life. We came up here. And it was such an easy decision. I had all these reasons. And I was always coming up to Georgia to my hunting property. I always go fishing, hunting, just to go. When Finn would fly over to the U.S., the first thing she would say, the first day, let's go to Georgia. And we would pack it up. We'd drive up to Georgia and stay in a little RV camper that I had on my hunting track. And that's what we did. In fact, I would say 95% of the time Finn came to the U.S., we didn't hang out in Miami. We went up here to Georgia and hung out in the woods. And the thing that Finn has taught me, she has this philosophy. Don't sit around planning things. Just make a decision and do it. And if it's a decision, she doesn't use the word wrong decision. If it's a decision that doesn't work the way you wanted, or if it doesn't give you the benefits or achieve what you wanted, just make another decision. And that's how we've been living the past 11 years.
And actually, when we first moved to Georgia, we didn't actually plan anything, big. As you said, you had a small, what's it called? RV? The camper,
yeah,
small camper, 22 feet long?
Yep.
Not even that. And just really old and small, but, we're in a big land. So we just adapt to it.
Yeah, and that's true. We didn't even come up here to build this little tiny house, our little cabin. We went, let's go live in the woods. Let's do it. And I had that little camper there. We put in our own septic system. We got power run out from the power company. We made it really livable long term.
We just figured out as we go.
And we just kept making decisions. And then one day I was looking at, I was just staring at a shed at outside of a Home Depot. And Finn said, and Finn had heard me over the years say, it would be neat to have one of these sheds on my hunting track, turn it into a little hunting cabin. And when we were standing there in the parking lot, Finn said, we should buy one of these. We didn't buy one from Home Depot. We went with a different company because just went for something a little bit better quality and stuff. And we did it. We bought it. We had it delivered. And we just started building it and converting it and made it into our home.
YouTube, DIY the whole lot, and just be with us as we can, and do whatever we can by ourselves before we go out and pay somebody else to do it. So with that, we save a lot of money.
Absolutely. And Matthew Sconzo, you're right. Too much planning for us personally mucks us up. It just muddies the water. So then we got something called Eastern Pine bark beetles on that property, and they had to come in and clear cut and get rid of all the trees and everything. So Finn found land where we're at now. And we had a cabin on the ground, and we were like, oh man, we don't want to live here with all these trees being cut down and live in this war zone and all this stuff. And Finn was like, let's move our cabin. And it's on the ground. It's a ground cabin. And I was like,
it's 12 by 30.
It's 12 by 30. Mm-hmm. Interior dimensions, 304 square feet. And I was like, yeah, let's move our cabin. So we had a company come in. They lifted our cabin. They put it on the back of a truck. They drove it. We were one of those people with a wide load and a vehicle out front and a vehicle out back with flashing lights. They brought it here to our first 3.5 acres.
Like 80 miles from where we...
Yeah, about 80 miles. Yeah.
Where we had it to here.
And we decided we're not going to live with all these trees being cut down. We're going to go somewhere else. And we literally took our house with us.
Again, we didn't have actually a concrete plan.
We didn't know what we were doing. We just had the house brought here.
And when we got here, we have no electricity. We have no water connection. We have no septic system. So we just got generator and went to a park
the
nearby.
boat ramp down.
Yeah, and fill up the 7-gallon jugs of water and then just carry it to our cabin. It's like super primitive when we first started it.
And we were just doing it. Then we called Georgia Power, and we asked them about bringing, what's involved to bring power out.
And it's going to cost a fortune.
It was going to cost a fortune to bring power lines out here. We had to pay somebody to come in and cut down all these trees. Finn's not a big fan of cutting down trees, so that was a big problem. And then to put in a septic system, because we live on this huge 19,000 surface acre lake, and we have these 2 streams on our property and a natural spring that feeds this big giant lake. There are water sources to that lake. We had to put in some type of special septic system with pumps and stuff that was going to cost $12,000 or so.
So I was like, heck with it. I'm going to go poop in the woods. I'm going to dig the hole and go poop in the woods. How about that?
And hey, Venetian from California. And then Finn had always wanted to live off grid. I wasn't a fan of it. Just wasn't a fan of it. I wasn't in my comfort zone as an adult. And I was like, okay, tell me about this composting toilet thing. That was the thing that I was not really a fan of, the whole composting toilet thing, not the electricity. I was like, I could live with that. Sidebar, my family is Amish. When I was a little Amish boy. So I'm used to no power and water in the house and stuff like that. But so here, and Finn said, let's go off grid. And we did. We went off grid. We just did it. We got a bucket with a plastic bag. Yuck. Never do that again. We got 2 generators. They were like side by side, one backed up the other. And we lived for
like 6 months, or
no,
I'm not sure. Longer than that?
3 to 6 months, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
3 to 6 months?
Right.
Maybe 6 months. So we went like 3 to 6 months of generators in the background, just going and stuff, until we cleared out enough trees where we were able to have enough light for solar system. Then we DIY'd our own solar system. That's a whole nother story and a whole nother project. A big middle finger to Amazon for all your recommendations for solar. Don't follow that list on the bottom of the page that everybody who bought this buys this.
And along the way, we always look for good deals or refurbished stuff. Even on Amazon, they sell these refurbished solar panel,
right,
sometimes from Renogy,
yep,
that you can, instead of paying full price, maybe have a little ding here and ding there, and then almost a half price off. So, we stack on that. We go on Craigslist and things like that, and, search for good deals. So, we not always just go and build things straight away. We just go find material that we can find either from the dumpster, local dumpster, or, something that people throw away. And we just, when we have money and time, we just build it. There's no rush into it because,
yep,
we living here. We just do it when we can.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is if we would have Finn and I meet a lot of folks, and they share valid concerns, valid fears, valid contemplations, valid what ifs of the unknown, self-imposed restrictions that have been put on them by their family and friends, partners, children, the newspaper boy, their hairstylist, just all sorts of people giving their opinions and stuff, and then people restricting themselves on it. And I used to do that a lot. I used to do that all the time. I was always worried about, if I do this, what is going to happen to this? And then Finn just showed me, quit worrying about, I almost said shit, and I don't think you're allowed to say shit on this, so I won't say it.
You already said it too.
Oh yeah,
2 more times.
So Finn just showed me by example, by walking it, that, hey, just go for it. Let's do what makes us happy. And we and that's what we did. Every single time, and I still do that today. Finn will come with an idea, and I typically will go, the challenges that we're going to have, the problems that we're going to run into, the concerns I have. And Finn has this ability to listen to my concerns, take them in, but then still moves forward and grabs me by the beard and drags me along to follow, because she's not stagnant, and she wants to always. Greetings from Germany. Hey there, William. And so that's what we've done is we try not to hesitate at all on anything. Back in 2015, there was a tiny house festival out west in Colorado. Big success. Tiny House Jamboree. Our friend Marcus Alvaretto, who now does the People's Tiny House Fest, which will be in July of this year again. He was in charge of marketing or advertising or something out there. But anyway, we're here in Georgia, and I was like, man, I wish somebody would do a big festival like that here in the Southeast. And Finn's like, yeah, you know. And then I said it again, and Finn was like, well, you know, maybe you should. And then the third time I said it, I wish somebody would do one of these big festivals here. And this is over the course of months, not in a day or two. Finn was either organize one of these festivals yourself or just quit talking about it and wait till one comes. And we did. I was like, she said it, and I was like, what's stopping us? Let's organize a tiny house festival.
And you made that happen.
And we did it. We had our first tiny house. Thank you. We had our first tiny house festival in March 2016 here in Georgia. And I remember some people back in the day, kind of like some celebrities, if you will, of the tiny house world. We got like one or two of them. They sent us a message saying, who are you guys? And who are you to do a tiny house festival? And, you know, what makes you think you should do it? You can, and we were like, we're nobody. And the only thing that makes us think we can do it is because we think we can do it. And we did it. And it was a big success. Last month, we had our 28th for Charity Tiny House Festival, all because Finn said, let's do it. Go and do it.
Not
and we just
because of me, because you went ahead and did it.
Yeah, but you made me quit whining. You made me pee and get off the pot.
Okay.
And we just did our 28th Tiny House Festival. If we sat around not like deliberating, or I was deliberating and contemplating, but if I just kept doing that forever and we just didn't make that decision, let's do it. We've done 28 tiny house festivals. We've been able to raise and give away over $700,000 to 100 and some charities. We've done festivals, and I'm not bragging, I'm just trying to make a point. We've done a festival out in the San Francisco Bay Area. Our 8th annual Georgia Tiny House Festival is coming up this summer. We just did our 2nd annual Florida Suncoast Tiny House Festival in Tampa. Our 8th annual Florida Tiny House Festival is coming up in November. We've done 3 festivals in Tennessee. We did one up in Virginia, one in DC, or no, the DC, Virginia was the same one. We did one in New Jersey. We did one in New Orleans, all because Finn said, do it. Let's do it. And that's the message that we really wanted to share with folks today is there's no reason not to at least advance and move forward to accomplishing what we want to accomplish, whether it's doing a van conversion, whether it's becoming full-time nomad, whether it's living in a little cabin in the woods like us and growing a beard, whether it's repairing a relationship, whether it's getting out of a dead-end job and getting something better. Sometimes, like what we did, we left. The other thing about another reason why we left Florida is back then in the day, you couldn't live tiny anywhere at all to live tiny in Florida, but land in Georgia was more conducive for it. So we left Florida. And because Finn said, I said, my home is in Florida. And Finn said, no, you got a house. It's time to have a home. Let's go for it. So it's just a matter of doing it. Now, I understand a lot of folks are like, I don't have a van. And I'm going to use this as an example. I don't have the money to do a van conversion. Okay. Let's make the decision to have that money. Let's quit ordering out. Let's quit using those charge cards. Let's stop going on these trips and things like that. And let's take a year to save. Finn and I got all sorts of suggestions. Do you know the average college student wastes over $200 a month on eating out and drinking? I'm sure it's more now with the way everything's the price of everything's gone up. Imagine if you were able to just take $200 a month and stash it somewhere and save that for a year. You know, you have the money to buy the used van, and then you can start your build. It's just different. SJ Heath, I really like all your stuff that you're saying here. Where there is a commitment, you'll find a way. Mass action and adapt as you go. Yes, you should be giving this talk, not us.
And also, you know, recently we have a trip to Colorado, and we just try to think, what can we do to be able to travel and save money, you know, instead of stay in a hotel. And we don't want to drag all the tiny houses that we have. We have a few tiny houses that we can take, but we just want a short, sweet trip. So we just throw a mattress and cooktop and things like that in the back of our truck. And we went to Facebook online marketplace and bought a camper top, like an old one, somebody sold for like $350. So we just said, let's try that and see how it goes.
Finn's idea. Yeah, totally. Finn's idea. And it was amazing. Because
it's just like totally no build. You just throw a mattress in there. You know, you bought, or maybe you can build a bed frame from Amazon. No, you can build it. But we bought a bed frame from Amazon.
Like an $80.
Just because we didn't have time.
Yeah.
And it was like $80. So, you know, we'd be able to cook, sleep, and shower outside of the truck. But yeah, we'd be able to save a lot of money.
And it was the best road trip. We've done road trips coast to coast and border to border with our tiny houses. We've taken our little school bus, our little 4-window schoolie bus conversion. We've taken that all over the place. We've taken that out west and stuff. But this last trip that we did with our little stealth truck with the camper top, when you opened the back, it was like you were in a Vardo. Finn had it all. It was just amazingly beautifully decorated and so comfortable and stuff. But from the outside, it's my old F-350 diesel 7.3 pickup truck with this old white camper top on top. And if you looked at it from the outside, you'd go, it's a guy, you know, it's you know, some dude, you know, some couple, you know, he's probably in the trades, or, you know, it's his second car, whatever. And instead, we lived like kings. We went all through the Rockies. I remember one day we're overlooking this vast valley with the back end open, cooking sausages, because you always have to eat.
Yes.
And just because, let's make that decision. Let's just do it. So, it's just the best thing that we can suggest to folks is not to be stagnant or not to be contemplating or over planning, but to just decide and do it. And if you can't do it spontaneously, at least spontaneously start doing the things that you can do to achieve that goal.
Start with what you got. Look around what you already have.
Exactly. Exactly. Finn and I like to be cheerleaders on this subject matter. Finn and I like to rah and root people on. We love to see people accomplish these type of goals. And then we're even more fascinated when they post them on. We had a lady who came to one of our festivals about Jasmine. Jasmine, right? Isn't that her name? She came to one of our festivals about 2-3 years ago. She spent a lot of time talking to us. And then for the next couple of months, she was sending lots and lots of messages, and we were responding. And there were always questions about building a tiny house and things of that nature. And then 3 months or so after that festival, she sent us a message and said, I just went into contract. This is my words, not hers. But, you know, I just signed my contract with my builder. This is my builder. What do you think of them? And I'm like, we're very familiar with them. They're an awesome builder. They do great stuff. And she's had her tiny house now for over a year and a half. So yeah. And we love that. We love when we see people just do it. So anyhow, this is Sherry Smith. Any decision is always much better than no decision. There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes,
Joan is taking from Nike. Just do it. This is the year. Actually, that would be a good Nike thing. Just do it. This is the year. That'd be pretty cool. So, and
remember, if you don't like it, you can always change it. You know, change your situation. And people grow. Things changes all the time. So it's nothing wrong with start one thing, and you know, you try to your best, or you know, that's the end of it, and then you just start a new thing.
That used to frustrate me with her because I would say, I don't think this is a good decision. And then she's like, well, we'll make another decision if it's not. And, you know, and we go down that road and see what happens. If y'all haven't figured out yet, I pretty much do what Finn wants to do. So, you know, call it well.
Well, that's true.
Well,
okay.
yeah. I was about to say, there's something to follow that word. Well, it's like, well, yes, you better. Well, that's true. You know, yes, you do. But anyhow,
you know, it's like a chain of events, you know, since when we first started with the our trade conversion, and now 11 years later, we actually have our own land, starting our own business with you know, short-term rental. We have
28 festivals behind us.
Yeah, you just got to start somewhere.
Yeah. It
doesn't have to be perfect when you first started.
Exactly.
You can work as you go along. You know, you don't have to wait until things are perfect before you start something.
It's just been such a great way to live. And in fact, Finn has heard me say this so many times. I wish I would have met you decades ago. I wish we would have done this decades ago, because this is the happiest that I've ever been. Down in Miami, I was an immunologist. I had a medical research lab, the big house, the car, you know, the whole 9 yards and everything. I was able to fly and see Finn whenever I wanted. She could fly over and see me when she wanted to. And you would think that was a real great way to live and a real great life. But
maybe at that moment.
At that moment, but leading up to that point, I was never really satisfied. I never had enough money. I never had enough. I always wanted a different car. I always wanted a bigger, better house. You know, it didn't matter what I had. And then being out here for all these years, being together now for over 13 years and living too long. Oh, too long. Get to the side of the bed. Leave me alone. How do we get a hold of you, Sharon Holland? Let me see. Sharon, you United Tiny House on Facebook, United Tiny House on Instagram, Beloved Cabin on Facebook, Beloved Cabin on Instagram, and Beloved Cabin on TikTok is the way you can find us. Beloved Cabin is our homestead life out here and our short-term rental community with all the houses and yurts and domes and stuff. And United Tiny House is our organization, our foundation, and supporting the tiny lifestyle movement. Joan W., congratulations. 13 years is fantastic. Finn might have a different opinion on that. Finn's like, you know, 5, and then it's kind of gets a little sketchy after that. But
anyway, I think time is almost up. So
I think we have just
we better say something
2 minutes left.
Say something useful now before time.
All right, say something useful. All right, for all you guys out there, if you don't have a partner, get a little Thai hottie with a smoking hot body who's really dominant and strong, and she won't let you down.
Helpful.
No, that's not helpful.
No.
Okay. Here's the deal. This is what I'll close with. No relationship is 100% equal. It's not 50-50. All right. Just remember that. And we've learned that over all these years together. Sometime in a dynamic, 2 people are going to disagree. They're not going to agree on something. And at that moment, those partners, that husband and wife, that boyfriend, girlfriend, those partners, those 2 wives, those 2 husbands, whoever, they need to make a decision. One of them needs to hit the beach and take one for the team and let the other person have their way so it doesn't escalate to an argument. And we have that down to a science.
Well,
Finn always gets her way, and I'm the one who always submits and gives up my position on things. But not without a fight, guys. Not without a fight. But seriously, there's nothing in this world that is so important and big that the most significant person in your life, you got to argue with them about it forever and over to where you go to bed angry with each other at night. So Bobcat.
What is up? This
What
is
is
Bobcat.
up? This is Bobcat. Hey, Bobcat.
Bobcat at the festival. Hi, Bobcat.
Is that Bobcat from our festival?
That Bobcat No, you know what? Hi, Bobcat.
Oh.
We're just gonna move on.
All right.
We only got 1 minute, less than 1 minute. So you are here today as it meant to be. So the good time to start is right now.
You've already
Yes.
made that decision.
Yeah.
You've
Mhm.
already made that decision. So
Take that step if you haven't taken it. Even just a teeny tiny step. Just take that step. You never know what's gonna lead.
Rachel C., do you guys have a podcast? Because if not, you guys should. Your
Aw.
thoughts and mindsets are just beautiful goals. Love you guys so much.
Thank
Aw.
you. Or I think we are actually the end of it now.
Are we
What
over?
do we do? Yes. It's 30 minutes now. So I think
Well, we're still going. Nobody's cut us off yet.
okay. All right.
I guess the way it's going to work is if anybody has a question or something you want to type in or whatever, we can answer it real quick, and
Yes.
we'll just stick around until this screen goes blank.
Mhm.
Any tips where to park when I'm single? Candy, that's a really important thing. Being single on the road is a very exciting adventure, and it's a very satisfying adventure. Talking to all of our friends. It can also be a sketchy, dangerous thing, especially solo people, women of color. In today's world, it can be a little sketchy and dangerous. Big things is that we recommend especially when you're first getting started, more public places, the Walmarts, Bass Pro Shop, Cracker Barrel type places. That's a good way to cut your teeth and whet your appetite for parking, things of that nature.
Oh, and also you can go to Love's, like to
Oh,
take
yeah.
a shower.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that's what we did when we on the road on our pickup truck. We just can't be smelly any longer, so we're just gonna pop into Love's and take a shower.
Oh, there you go. Female solo. Hey, Candy Crenshaw, Amy Davis just said female solo van life is another video as part of this course. So there you go.
Yeah, and I think so. We just hooked up, with other single people, either same sex or different sex. It doesn't matter.
Uh-huh.
And then travel in group. You
Sure.
can always make new friends.
Candy,
feel better.
Gary, we're in Middle Georgia. We're in Ag Zone 8A. We're above the Georgia Nat line, and we're about an hour and a half east southeast of Atlanta. What do you recommend for long term, Candy? Sherry Smith just said it. Harvest Toast is a good one.
I heard a lot of people use Harvest Toast.
Yeah, Harvest Toast. And there's also too, if you reach out to us, go to our website, unitedtinyhouse.com. There's a contact page there. Send us a message, Candy, and we can send you a list of our parking suggestions and long-term places that you can park, rent month to month, things of that nature. We don't have any relationship with any of these companies. We have not been to all of them, excuse me. We can just suggest it. Overlander is a good one. Thank you, Sherry. That's a good one.
I think so far the place that we parked personally is Walmart often, Cracker Barrel because you like breakfast, and Lowe's because they have
showers,
and also space for RV parking, and
right.
Also
showers.
Travel Stop. Is that Travel Stop?
Travel Stop, those places. Long term, we've done lots of campgrounds. My suggestion, if you're going to an RV park or campground, Candy, and anybody else, call ahead of time. Because some of them, especially the ones that are sponsored by RVIA, they may not let you park. We've never been turned away. We've never been turned away from any campground or RV park ever in all of our travels. But we have spoken to people who say they have.
Particularly if they have a long schoolie, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think one of the reasons we've never been turned down is we've always called ahead of time. And the only ones we haven't got to is the ones who say we're full. And they may have said they're full because they're full, or they may have said they're full because we said we got a tiny house on wheels. But we've never had anybody turn us away for a negative reason. But we call that. There is also a Facebook group.
Yeah,
they're
Facebook
always
is
active
a
with
great
posts.
place to
Amy
hook up with
Davis,
other
that's
people.
a good one.
Yeah.
Different groups that are out there: Schoolie Planet, Schoolie Nation. Oh, Schoolie Swarm, which is going on this weekend. That's a real fun event. Schoolie Swarm. Coming up real soon also here in Georgia is Bus Bonanza. It's for buses, vans, box trucks, pretty much anything and everything. That's going on near Warner Robins in Danville, Georgia. Our bus conversion specialist friends out of Florida, Crystal and Eric Lopez, Ryan Thompson, Hummingbird Tiny Homes, Tiny Houses, they're all organizing that whole thing. And Finn and I'll be there either with our bus.
We would?
Yeah, we're signed up for volunteers.
Okay.
Oh.
All right. We'll be there.
I neglected to tell her. But we'll be there with our little blue school bus conversion. So
We would?
yes, we are. We're already
Okay.
signed up. I blocked
All
the
right.
dates off and everything.
Okay.
We are. See,
What?
she took one for the team and she agreed with me.
Well, just on camera, they don't know what's gonna happen.
Sharon Holland, is there a place to find all these events? Yes, there is. On Facebook, there is a group and a page that we run called Tiny House Dates, Events, and Festivals. And we put as many events and things out there as we can. On Instagram and on Twitter, we have Tiny House Dates. You can go there and look at those, and we put things out there. tinyhouseexpedition.com, they have a really good calendar of events out there. And I like to suggest different places to look because we might have an event out there that somebody else doesn't have, and somebody else might have an event out there that we don't have. But off the top of my head, and Tiny House Talks,
Tiny.
I can't remember them off the top of my head.
Just basically go to Facebook and type in Van, Schoolie, or tiny houses. Those kind of keywords will
Right.
take you some groups that I'm sure you can find
But
connections.
starting today down in Florida, in like the Ocala area, Central Florida, is the Schoolie Swarm. I think it's their 6th or 7th, or maybe 6th or 7th annual. They've got a huge thing going on. Last year, I know they had over 300 rigs. I'm not sure how many they have this year. And I don't think you can get in now. I think registration is closed on that. But if you go out to Facebook and just look up Schoolie Swarm, are really, really great friends and super, super awesome, unbelievably great people. Travis and Michelle Matson, super caring, wonderful individuals. They got hearts of gold. They're the organizers of that. But Sharon Holland, can I repeat that? Tiny House Dates on Tiny House Dates. If you type in Tiny House Dates in Facebook, Instagram, Twitter,
Thank you.
you'll find those things.
That's
Vegas.
Bobcat.
It is
That's
Bobcat. Okay.
Hi, Bobcat.
Thanks,
Oh,
Bobcat. He's saying our Pinellas Park event was so much fun. That was our 28 for charity Tiny House
Thank you,
Festival
thank
we
you.
had just last month, January 21st and 22nd.
If you have time and able to go to one of these events, doesn't have to be our event. Some other event as well, you'll be able to connect with people, in personal level. And I think that's the good thing, that you connected with, either a van lifer or Bud Life or any of those people that,
Yep.
It's kind of like form a community. So
Renee McLaughlin, she's speaking during this event this weekend. Renee got married, and I can't remember what her married name is. But Renee, she runs Tiny Fest, and she does a bunch of festivals. She does one in California every year. I think the one in California is coming up. I think it's coming up next month in March in Del Mar, California. She does one in the Midwest and one in the Northwest. She's like she does like I think 3 a year, but it's called Tiny Fest, and you can look those up also. If you go to our Facebook page, the page United Tiny House, and then go to events, that's where we post all of our events and everything out. So so that's where we post all that stuff at and everything. So that's about it, folks. I think we're about done here. So we thank you all very much. Do you know of any issues with break-ins when you leave your rig in an isolated hiking area to go hiking for the day? Any tips to reduce break-ins in this situation? Lock it up real good is one thing. Even when we've been up in the Rockies and stuff, there's always been a couple of cars around us and things of that nature. So we've never been in a place yet, like in the middle of the desert, let's say, where
Yes,
there's
of course.
nobody around for miles. We've never been in that situation. We will say this, Kamtar, if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, it's real important to be diligent. It's real important to be focused, know your surroundings, see who's around you, get a feel. If you think something is sketchy, if you're getting a bad vibe, walk away from it. Just walk away from it.
Go find somewhere else to
Yeah,
park.
just it's
not
not
worth it.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it at all. So that's my big thing. Make sure everything's locked up tight. If you have one of those doors that doesn't lock, like a back door or something, I would address that, even if it's an external padlock or something. We have two buses out here, one that's fully converted, the one that we've used, the little sky blue one, but our other big yellow bus that we're doing, the 38 footer, its back door has an issue. So we know that's something we have to address before we hit the road, because it does not lock. It just latches shut and you can open it from the outside, no problem. So, but anyhow, with that all said and done, thank you all very much. And Sharon, we can't wait to see you too.
Yes, in one of these events.
There you go. Y'all take care. Thank you. Thanks, Kristen. We really appreciate it. Y'all take care.
Bye.
Bye.